What's up, everyone? So I'm going to go over a recap of the Deathfest, all 5 days, Prefest included. Got my little notebook here. So day one was, the Prefest was probably one of the better days just because fewer people. The set times weren't really overlapping. It was easier to go back and forth, even though the venues were at kind of the far ends of the grounds. And not that security was lax, but there were fewer checkpoints just due to fewer people. So it was a little bit easier to get through. It was a cool start. The highlight of the day for me was seeing Sodom do their kind of like greatest hits type set. It was a long set, probably an hour and change. I don't know, 15 or 20 songs, and both days that Sodom played, right? The first actual day, but the second set they did was Agent Orange in its entirety. And both days, though, were Sodom's a band where clearly they're good, and they know what they're doing and everything, but they play at a level at which when the excitement of the crowd rises, they'll play up to that or even higher. So it continues to build and build, and they genuinely seem to appreciate. I know they played to bigger crowds, but they genuinely seem to appreciate the crowd's reaction. So both days, Sodom killed it. Highlights of both days, but for the Prefest, Sodom was probably kind of the coolest moment. All the bands did great at the Prefest, though, and I don't have a list of all of them with me, but they all did great. And if you want to see any of this stuff, I got footage. Any of the sets I went to throughout the whole festival will be at my channel, and I made a playlist for it, so you can just go to the Maryland Deathfest playlist. And all in all, it was a good start to the festival. And the energy from the crowd was really good. Lots of cool shirts, lots of cool outfits. So if you do Prefest again, it's pretty casual overall. On the grounds, they have a Subway and a 7-Eleven, but those lines can get long. They have some other restaurants too. And if you park nearby or if you're staying nearby, it's fairly quick and easy to get to those places. So, so day one, I'm going to just go over my highlights and my experience. Obviously, I can't really speak to anybody else's. It was cool to see Incinerate, Jonathan Buda, who plays guitar. He's in another band, Excrescence, that I saw, and from the Seattle area also. So it was cool to see him in Incinerate. They did great. Stabbing played, and I had missed them several times, but they were the highlight of the day for me as far as the bands that I saw out of all the bands. They crushed every song, great energy, and her vocals live are phenomenal. So I don't know what she does to take care of her throat or her exercises, but it was like some of the best death metal vocals live I've ever heard for a continuous set, especially. She didn't seem to lose any of it. So, and I apologize if I'm not mentioning names. There were just so many bands and everything. And it's been kind of a whirlwind trip. So, Morta Scold, who was a last-minute addition for this year's, they were surprising in that I didn't know them that well, and I haven't really listened to them much. But they put on a really good, enjoyable set. Really, really strong energy. So I don't know if that's just who they are, or if they were like, hey, we know we're a last-minute addition, so we want to blow you guys away. But Mortal Skull did great. Sodom did their Agent Orange set. A really good set, really great for diehard fans. Only just downside is their merch from the day before. I don't know where it was. I guess they only had one shirt designed for day one of the festival, so that was a little disappointing. And then to close out the night, Broken Hope played. Broken Hope was really cool. Another band, like many of these bands, I wasn't familiar with. So really strong, though. I'm kind of surprised that they're not bigger, not gonna lie. But overall, day one, right, full, I want to say about 6,000 people. I think it was still just 2 venues. I might be wrong. It might have been a third. But yes, it was a third venue. So they opened. So it was Soundstage, which was indoors. Rams Head Live, which was indoors, and then Power Plant Live, which was outdoor. And out of the two outdoor venues, that one's way better, and I'll talk more about that. So day 2 of the fest proper opened with Contusion, and they were one of my favorites of the day and probably of the fest. So definitely going to check more of their stuff out. Just great energy, great songs, really tight. And I forget her name, but the bassist was a member of Mortuous and another band, I believe, and I think she does touring with Blackwater Holy Light. And I mentioned her name in the Ghost Cult, the typed reviews that I did for Ghost Cult, and in the day 2 individual review. Anyway, so Vermin Womb, of course, one of my favorites. They did great, and it was awesome just watching them up there creating hellish noise and people just like sucked into it. Balzer, who I think I didn't intend on catching him, but I caught. It was just a really cool one-man act, a little bit artistic in a way. So Balzer's a band I will have to check more out of, but he had a really cool set at the Ram's Head, and the lighting was really cool. So whoever did his lighting, or if he arranged it, it was really on-point lighting. And then for me, Spectral One played, and this is one of the top bands out in my opinion, not just in black metal but across kind of metal genres. I mean, kind of a feral energy, really good songs, really good pacing, really good set composition, great lighting. Seeing them in a smaller venue had an advantage because the smoke filled it more and created more of an atmosphere, but I mean, people walked away from the set blown away, and honestly, I think they're one of the best bands out today that are performing and creating great music. So overall, and yeah, they were my 2023 set of the year, and just so damn good. So day 2 rather, also had some downsides though, because there were some bands that just, they were disappointing, they didn't perform well. I don't know. So day 2 was kind of a weird day. Day 3 was a tough day because security checkpoints increased at this point. I think we were closer to 7,000 people. And it really slowed things down, and now you've added a 4th and 5th venue into the mix. So you have more people, tighter, slower security, and more overlapping spots to get to, more venues to navigate. So this was the point where you either really needed a solid schedule, or you were going to kind of hunker down in one spot for a few bands. So this was something where if you were new to festivals, it may have been tougher for you. I don't know. But I know that the security and kind of like some of the attitude that they had was fairly disappointing. But highlights of the day for me: Noisy Neighbors, really fun, funny grind band, opened the day, and it was just a good start, and the crowd had a lot of fun. Skinless played, and I caught their full set, and I caught Spectral Wound's full set too. And Skinless I saw at the first Deathfest in 2003, kind of sentimental, and it was a great set, a lot of fun. And when Sherwood was handing out a few beers, went to him, one to me, the distance was just a little too far in the condensation, so I dropped the beer in front of quite a number of people, got some good booze in, but still got to have about a quarter of a sudsy Heineken, and I don't really drink much and I don't condone it, but it was special and I messed it up, so that was awesome. Yakopse, didn't know anything about them, was able to catch about about a half of their set. Really good, really loud, really aggressive, so I will be checking them out more. Hemorrhage was a band that a lot of people were like, hey man, make sure you go catch them. So Spanish kind of grind, good humor in it, really well composed. I don't know, it was a special band for sure. So if you get a chance to catch Hemorrhage from Spain, definitely do. Hopefully you catch them in a smaller club, because they had some outfits on and some effects that, being further away from the stage, made it a little bit harder to appreciate that. But really good, and clearly they know how to, throw a show. Um, and probably the highlight of the day was Dismember. They played on the marketplace stage, which sounded like shit for pretty much everybody else. And the rain started to roll in. It had been hot, so everybody's looking forward to the rain. But the problem with an outdoor stage is if you get lightning, they probably have to shut it down. So we were like, okay, give us at least a few songs before any lightning. I was a little bummed because the songs I really wanted to hear were further down on the set list. So if it did get shut down earlier, I would have missed out. But man, it was nearly perfect. So the band started, the rain came on, it was light, it didn't last long. It did make people a little bit slipperier, but it also cooled things down nicely, and the band was like kind of enjoying it. Man, Dismember is just, they're really fucking good. I don't know. They were a highlight for, I think, most people. They had a huge draw, and they just crushed it with ease, and they looked like they were enjoying themselves. Afterwards, the vocalist shook everybody's hand in the front row, just like genuinely interested in meeting the fans. And Dismember was probably one of the most like positive, like felt good sets of the whole fest. So it was amazing. Day 4, last day, security kind of was smoother. People seemed to be relaxed, ready to just enjoy their last day. My fiance flew in, and she's only been listening to metal for about a year, and this was by far her first festival, and so I was a little bit nervous what she was going to think. Important to note, she bought a one-day pass, and I will fully, again, as I said before, admit, like, we didn't check the fine print, or we missed it, that the full pass only gets you into the 2 outdoor stages and Angel's Rock Bar, the small bar upstairs. It does not get you into Soundstage or Ram's Head. Luckily, we weren't trying to catch a ton of bands in those places, but we went, before we knew, we went into Ram's Head, no problem. We watched the band, it was great. When we went to go back in, security was like, no, you can't go in. And we're like, oh, we were in earlier, nobody said anything. And at that point, security got nasty. Like, unnecessarily asshole-ish. And, it's tempting to just yell or fight or whatever. But you could also see that they weren't interested in being kind or just explaining anything. The first security person was just like, oh, that lady over there can help you, who I guess she was the supervisor, and like just brushed us off. And so we went to her, and that lady like looked at us like super aggressive, like she was standing her ground, like, no, you're wrong, you can't come in, like just like we were like, oh no, it's just a mistake, sorry, misunderstanding. And she was unpleasant. So for the Rams Head live staff, I don't know if you guys promote like, hey, be assertive with these people, whatever, but they were fucking assholes. And while the venue itself is amazing, if you have staff like that, I don't ever need to return for the fest or for anything individually. So I don't know, next time just a little bit gentler would be fine. Otherwise, the day was really good. And the highlights for the day, Jigai, kind of a grindcore band, really good. Poon Tickler was hilarious and really good, and we were like, the crowd went wild, and right, we're in this like little bar, the Angel's Rock Bar, and like we ended up on our faces several times. There were inflatable orchids going around. It was madness. So a lot of fun. I recommend going to see Poon Tickler the second you have a chance. And we closed out the night with Extortion, and they were awesome. So I know they're coming to Seattle soon. I want to try to catch them again, but Extortion put on a terrific set. Really crazy, chaotic, and it was hard because we left Poon Tickler to go see Extortion, so we call it that half and half. But man, they were just two wild, chaotic sets. So Now, people want to know about Abbott and Mayhem. Abbott was a lot of fun. He was on the power. They were both on the marketplace stage. Sorry, the worst of both stages. So the sound from me wasn't great. Abbott fans are really weird. It was a lot more of a party thing, and it was weird because, like, you know, there was the metalhead group, and then the people there just to kind of party and dance, and it didn't mesh well. So that experience was a little bit mixed. Seeing Abbott live was great. He's a weird dude, a funny guy. So I would probably see him again under different circumstances. But I don't know. The crowd was a little off-putting in a way. Just, I don't know. They had a personal boundary thing that was not very respectful of others, which is weird to say at a metal show, but they did it in a different way. And Mayhem, the sound just wasn't there. You know, and I don't know Mayhem's song selection. I don't know, it just wasn't a hit for me. So now I've seen Mayhem twice, and the sound was off both times, and I don't know that I want to put in the energy to see them again. I know to, like, respect them, you know, probably, but so I don't know. Overall, though, for their 19th fest in their 23rd year of running total, you know, they had a few off years. Maryland Deathfest is still one of the best done festivals in the States. The lineup for 2025 is already starting to look sick. Nile, Obituary is doing a special set. At least one other band's doing a special set so far. If you're gonna go, though, right, prepare to eat and drink differently. Some places you can only bring in chilled water bottles. You can't bring in coffee. Food is kind of hit or miss. So you have to prepare for these things. There was a ton of merch. I barely even went through the market itself, right? They had pop-up tents with just, like, I don't know, 30 different vendors who had all manner of merch. It was a little overwhelming, and I don't know, it was really cool to see, though. So I did good. I only bought 8 shirts, and you know, one of them was the Maryland Deathfest shirt, and bought a few band shirts, and pretty happy with my level of spending. But it's something that you should be aware of. It also makes a difference if you flying in and you're got luggage, so that's something to be aware of. The Lyft rides, I was about 20 minutes away, so Lyft ended up costing some money. So plan it well and plan it early if you are going to stay there and aren't going to be nearby. The hotel costs will be cheaper, but the hotel I stayed at, America's Best Value Inn, the fact that I wasn't murdered there is surprising, because that hotel was nasty. Don't stay there. But anyway, there's some things to balance out. Anyway, Maryland Deathfest playlist of videos will be up within the week. I caught, I don't know, probably about 70 songs and 2 full sets from Skinless and Spectral. Ghost Cult Magazine will have written reviews, which will be a little bit different than this. It'll focus more on just the bands themselves. And at some point, probably months from now, Instagram will have some photos. I might do like a merch post too, just to show people who want to see some stuff. But otherwise, if you want to go to a US festival, this is probably one of the better ones you can go to. And thank you for checking them all out. Thank you for checking out the daily reviews. Thank you for checking out the Ghost Cult stuff. And thank you for subscribing to the channel. And I'll see you soon.